Oh, Sati, you gorgeous piece of work, you. I'll just let it play for a bit. Hello there, CriterioNate here. Number 430. Louis Malle's The Fire Within. Le Fou Follet. 1963, 108 minutes, black and white, Moreau, French, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you know the rest. So, better. Better than The Lovers. Much better than The Lovers. Why? Because Jeannie Moreau's barely in it. But of course, they can't, they can't help but tout her. Although she's not mentioned, surprisingly enough, she's not mentioned on the back of this. She's not, Criterion does not mention, although Wikipedia brings it up. Starring Race Renee, Jeannie Moreau. Like, she's in the movie for 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something like that, So I'm like, God. It's like, just because you're a star doesn't mean, and you're in the movie doesn't mean you're the star of the movie, Anyway, yeah, I did like this one more. It still wasn't. It was kind of confusing. Just I feel like I understood it, but there were parts I didn't understand. Basically, it's about a guy named Alan Leroy who lives in a hospital or a rest home for the doctors are taking care of him for he was an alcoholic, and now he's suffering from manic depression, and so the doctors don't like him out very long. Only allow him enough time, a little time at a time to leave. And so at the beginning of the movie, he's spending time with a woman that he met. His wife, Dorothy, lives in New York, I think. And so he ends up, and I don't think we never see her. And so basically, it's just him. He's talking with this woman, Lydia is her name. And at first, I thought that was the first thing you see is her face, and I thought, oh God, Jeannie Moreau from the beginning. And I was thoroughly surprised by this. Yeah. So anyway, the movie this kind of goes on, and he's very depressed, and he's very he's feeling very hopeless. And so on July 23rd, he decides that he's going to kill himself. And so he wakes up and he goes to Paris, and he meets all these people. And he spends the day, meeting all kinds of friends and trying to reconnect with all of his friends and all that. Let me see if I can remember I don't remember their names. Talks to his friend Dubois. And they had a long chat, played by Bernard Noel, and I know I've seen him in something. Outside of that, yeah, he hitches a ride with these two truck drivers, these van drivers, to Paris. And while he's there, he meets Dubois and his wife Fanny and their kids, and they walk around the park talking. And yeah, the music of Sati is the soundtrack to basically the whole film. And then later on, he meets his friend Jean, played by Jeannie Moreau, and she's significantly older in this movie. I mean, The Lovers was made in '58, and this was 1963, I believe. Yeah, so time had passed. So it's funny, in 5 years she had gained. She looked a lot more haggard, there were a lot of lines in her face and all that, and so I was surprised to see her looking so aged, which honestly I thought made her look a lot better, not good, but better. So yeah. So anyway, outside of that, so he goes off with her, and she introduces him to his he sits with her artsy fartsy friends. And they sit around and talk, and then he ends up going to a dinner party, and I guess he sort of has feelings for one of his friends' wives, and yeah, another theme in the movie is intimacy. He has a hard time falling for someone. I think some of his sexuality as well. He has a lot of issues with his performance, I guess. And so he ends up, kind of causing an outburst and making a scene and leaving early. And he goes home. He goes back to the home, and the next morning he wakes up and he realizes that he didn't really learn anything, and he ends up killing himself, shooting himself in the stomach. And that's the end of the movie. It's a kind of sad. It's a sad tale, but it's also a very cautionary tale. Maybe movies about suicide, I think always should be taken seriously for the most part. And we've seen some movies in suicide, movies that touch on suicide, such as Nights of Cabiria. And I know there have been some others. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. I know we'll see movies like Harold and Maude a few years from now. We'll get to that one. But outside of that, I can't think of any. I know that, again, I know there are others. It's late and my brain's everywhere. So, but yeah, The Fire Within, a much better Louis Malle movie than The Lovers. Much better movie than Elevator to the Gallows. Sadly. A much better movie than Murmur of the Heart. I would say it's definitely better than La Commusienne. So I would say it's probably his second best non-documentary film that I've seen. Right behind, not as good as Au revoir les enfants, but it's right there. It's second best film. If I had to rank them, I'd say it's probably the Au revoir les enfants, The Fire Within, Elevator to the Gallows, The Lovers, and Murmur of the Heart, I'd say. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but oh well. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for today. Fire Within. Let's see, a good movie, not perfect. I feel like it wasn't perfect. I'm gonna give this it's definitely much better rating than The Lovers. I gave The Lovers a D-. I'm gonna give this a B. Yeah, a flat B. I'm gonna give it a flat B. It's a good movie. Jeannie Moreau does sour it a bit, but outside of that, Maurice René, we remember from Elevator to the Gallows, he played the role fantastically. I think he definitely played the role of someone who's depressed. In a well way. He did it really well. So, so that's all I have to say about it. Fire Within, B. Supplements. There's a 20-minute interview with Mal from the same interview that we saw on The Lovers from 1994. There's an interview with René from 1966. There's a new documentary made by Criterion called Mal's Fire Within, which featured Volker Schlorendorf, the director we've seen from The Tin Drum and all those. And he was he had worked with Mal in the 60s. And Philippe Collin, who was Mal's, I think, first assistant director, and Alexandra Stewart, who was one of Mal's partners after he had divorced his first wife and before he married Candice Bergen. And then there's a 2005 documentary short called Jusqu'au 23. Julia, I don't know my French numbers, sadly. It's basically until July 23rd, which just kind of talks about more about the source film, the book that is based on Pierre Drieux La Rochelle, Les Fous Follets, and comparing it to the movie, basically. That's it. So, Fire Within, B. Definitely a much better Mal film. Not his best, but it's a decent one. I'd check it out at least once. Anyway, so that's it for me for a while. I'm taking a break, and the Eclipser's coming in. Eclipse is going to take over things for a while. I'm going to do the Mr. Klein series, the model couple, Who Are You, Paul and Magoo, Mr. Freedom, and then after that he's going to do the next series after that, Silent Ozu, 3 family comedies. And I've also put a hold on the next movie, Thief of Baghdad, which I'd like to see. I don't know. We may put it, depending on when it comes in, we may put it in between the two Eclipse series. But yeah, it depends. And depending on how quickly they ship, how quickly they get there, we may have to take a break. But we will get started on the William Klein series tomorrow. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Don't try suicide, like Queen said. And once again, don't put Jeannie Moreau in your films, because no. And that's all I got. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all much later, probably next week, for Thief of Baghdad and the rest of them. And the Eclipser will see you all tomorrow for the William Klein series. I believe starting with wait, what's the first one? Well, I guess possibly starting with, oh yeah, I guess starting with Who Are You, Polly Magoo? I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the order is. I don't listen to this. I don't watch these movies. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all then for that stuff. Until then, goodbye.